Hi, this is Jundo. Welcome to Tree Leaf. And our subject today is the 12-fold chain of dependent origination, sometimes called the 12-fold chain of cause and effect. But what it really is a model for where the sense of self develops from. And along with it, a sense of everything that's not the self. Why is this so important? It's at the key of our Buddhist practice. You see that self and that not self, the rest of the world, are usually in some kind of friction. We're born and immediately we start judging the world, things we like, things we don't like, things we fear, things we're worried about, how we think the world should be. So much of our Buddhist practice is to soften or fully drop away that wall between the self and what we consider the not self. So it's very important to understand the model for how this develops. Now, this 12-fold chain is the subject of a variety of interpretations from different schools of Buddhism, some very different, some interpreted to be about rebirth. And for me, it is very similar to modern theories of child development, how the newborn infant develops its sense of separate self. It's first born with no sense of its own separate existence in an outside world. Where does this come from? So in order to convey this to you, allow me to put my acting skills to the test. Today, this 50-year-old man shall transform into a newborn infant. In order to do that, I've got my teddy bear and, of course, I've got my bib. So here we go. Scene emerging from the womb. Where? What's this? What's going on? Where am I? Actually, it wouldn't say where am I, because it has no sense of I yet, but it's emerging into this world it doesn't understand. There's confusion, chaos. This is why we often call this ignorance. And from this ignorance, you'll notice its arms and legs flailing around. Well, this serves to give it some sense of space and dimension. It gets a sense of there and here. And from this, the first spark of I'm here and everything else is over there comes. This is the first consciousness of a self, and as its opposite, as its mirror image, not the self, the rest of the world. But what immediately starts to happen is it starts to categorize and judge. For example, this is my crib. I'm flailing around. Wow, wow, wow. Ow! That hurts. I'm hurting. And you can see from that simple contact of the senses with outside objects that immediately data is added. We start to categorize. Bad thing. Hurt me. And this is what happens. The eyes open, the ears open, the mouth, and the taste and the smell, touch, all processed in the mind, and we start to put names on things, identities, judgments, things we like, things we don't like. For example, oh, the eye comes in contact with this, and my hand too. Oh, soft, nice thing. Oh, I like you. Oh, that over there, she keeps putting food in my mouth. Nice, she must be my mommy. You see how this goes. And it just continues for many years until we graduate from college, and then for the rest of our life. Now, what happens is, now that we've thought of the things we like, we want them. Ooh, nice Teddy, I desire you. Bad wall, I desire to get away from you. You're painful, but nice Teddy, I want you. And we grasp the things we desire. We even push away the things we desire to go away. From this grasping, we get a sense of possession. Nice Teddy, I want you Teddy, my mommy. And it becomes more sophisticated. My hand, my body, my head, my life. And we now have a clear sense of my self, my life. This is birth. You know now that or you think you know now, that you're existing apart from the rest of the world. And I'm here to tell you, in Buddhist view, that separation is not the only way to look at things. Of course, you're sitting there watching me, and I'm over here talking to you, but we knock down that separation by reversing this process. You see, when there's a self now, my life, I'm now afraid. I have my life. I don't want to lose my life. I don't want to get sick. I don't want to die. I don't want to get old. I want the world to be the way I want. I'm afraid of what could happen if it's not the way I want. The war has started between the self and everything not the self. You'll notice in our Shikantaza Zazen practice, what are we doing? Reversing the process, dropping the judgments, dropping the likes and dislikes, dropping the demands that the world should be this way, dropping the names and categories, dropping the head full of thoughts, and the hard border between self and not self begins to soften, sometimes even fully drops away. And now we return to that unbroken wholeness from which we came, with a difference. The child emerged into ignorance, hungry, a little afraid, not understanding. Now we return to this. I like to think it's to the womb. You know, there's a saying, the Buddha's womb. Your original face is the Buddha's womb. There may be a reason for that, but now we return without fear, but with peace, knowing the wholeness, knowing the lack of conflict there, the lack of division. And what was originally ignorance is now, well, known through enlightenment, you see. This is why this process is so important. Well, it's complicated. I hope I got a little bit across, but more than talking about it, shall we get back to the Buddha's womb?